On today's episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position, we decide who we should buy, sell, and hold before the Monza Grand Prix and say goodbye to one American driver. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Wednesday, August 28th. My name is Ewan, and today I am star-spangled bannered out as it is the last time that I can wear this Logan Sargeant shirt after a race that he has competed in because Williams have officially let him go. He remains in the Williams F1 family or whatever the heck that means. But Logan Sargeant is gone from our F1 fantasy squads. He is actually still active in the game, which will change this weekend. So I saw Rob, F1 Fantasy Hub, had transferred him into his test squad. So we will see how that goes. So let us know in the comments below if you have Logan Sargeant. But yeah, pretty much just adorning as much red, white, and blue as possible for today's episode, as we are going to give Sargeant the farewell he deserves here on F1 Fantasy Pole Position. Green flag, yellow flag, red flag episode today. So as we talk about Logan Sargeant, 4.8 million, it has not gone well. Scored 10 plus points in 4 of 36 races. That is bad. Scored negative points in 6 of 36 races. Also bad. Gained budget in 7 of 36 races. Lost budget in 19 of 36 races. 0.1 points per race. 0.1 points per million in 2023. 0.5 points per race in 2024, and 0.1 points per million in 2024. He has gone down in budget this season by 0.7 million. It has not been fun for Logan Sargeant or his F1 fantasy managers. However, it has been a ride for the American. 36 races feels an appropriate amount of time to kind of see where he's at, and it does seem like he has gotten a little bit worse in his second season. The kind of anxiety over whether he was going to have a seat in 2025 seemed to get to him, and over the summer break, it was announced that Carlos Sainz will take his place in the Williams. So for that, one last time, we give Logan Sargeant the red flag. Thank you, Logan, for always entertaining us and giving us some complete misery on Sundays, but good luck in your future endeavors. But who has he been replaced by? Franco Colapinto, who we do not know the price of. 21 years old from Argentina. 6th in the F2 championship this season. 1 win, 2 second place finishes. And yeah, it's going to be exciting times in F1 fantasy. Just a little bit of an unknown. He inherits Sargeant car for the final 9 races of 2024. We know he's not going to have a seat for Williams, at least in 2025. He ran FP1 at Silverstone earlier this season. 18th, he was 0.429 seconds off of Albon in that FP1. Not a lot known about him. There were rumors that Mick Schumacher was in the mix. That didn't seem to materialize. There were rumors that Liam Lawson was the first choice. Apparently, Red Bull didn't want to let him go in case they needed to replace him or use him as a replacement at some point over the final 9 races of this season. So that's kind of interesting news from Red Bull. You know, Liam Lawson still in circulation. You never know. Just Red Bull, I mean, they used to be as ruthless as Williams. Where were we saying that? Williams actually did something better than Red Bull in 2024. They replaced a failing driver. So great job by Williams for just kind of being like, all right, this is not working out. We got to get someone else in this car. We got to test out someone in our academy. Liam Lawson would have been excellent. That would have been a really interesting F1 fantasy asset. But that doesn't mean that Franco Colapinto cannot provide some value over the final 9 races of the 2024 F1 fantasy season. So let me know in the comments below if you know anything more about Franco Colapinto, if you think you'll be bringing him in for Monza, what the deal is. The last time that Williams replaced a driver ahead of the Monza Grand Prix was when Alexander Albon had his appendix removed. Nick De Vries came in, got ninth, eighth, ninth, and then got a ride the next season. So you never know. Maybe this is history repeating itself. But that is going to do it for the kind of Logan Sargeant, Franco Colapinto portion of this episode today on F1 Fantasy Pole Position. I'm now going to get into the regular green flag, yellow flag, red flag, but I am still going to be wearing this ridiculous outfit with Logan Sargeant, the sunglasses, and the beanie, despite it being 92 degrees here in Germany right now. So don't say I don't put any blood, sweat, and tears into this YouTube channel, because there's a lot of sweat happening right now. Report card from the Netherlands. Last week, I put in Verstappen, Hamilton, Piastri, Russell, and Albon as my 5 drivers for green flag, yellow flag, red flag. And yeah, red flag for Verstappen, yellow flag for Hamilton, and then green for Piastri, Russell, and Albon. This is my report card. These are my self-appointed grades. Let me know in the comments below if you think I am too lenient, if I am too harsh, if I am too scared to give myself that much of a failing grade. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about what you would have given these 5 drivers for their kind of race in the Netherlands. I gave myself a C for Verstappen. I said to sell him, which was a good idea, although he came second. So, but you could have sold him for Lando. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I said that or not, but that is where we're at. Hamilton was a yellow flag. Gave myself a C for that. Saved himself on Sunday. Saturday was a little bit of a disaster. Mercedes was kind of nowhere to be found. I thought they'd be a lot better. Even in like the live stream that I did on Saturday, which hopefully some of you tuned into, I was like, Lando had a quote saying that he thought Mercedes were going to be the fastest car here on Sunday. So I kind of was like, all right, let's go. Put the DRS boost on George Russell. And that was that. And it did not go well if you watched the race review episode that came out on Monday. Piastri, green flag. Don't know how to feel about that. Probably could have been a C here, but qualified well. The McLaren was the fastest car, but I'm not sure what happened there. Zandvoort was not as overtakey as it has been in previous editions. I think it just kind of didn't work out. Piastri didn't have enough in the tank to get past Charles Leclerc. In third, Russell, I gave myself a D. I kind of felt like I should give myself an F for this one because it was a really bad Sunday drive, but qualified 4th. So a really good Saturday. It was looking strong. I don't know what really happened. I think both drivers were complaining during qualifying that whatever they did on Friday night messed up the car a little bit. So Mercedes at it again. Maybe we need to think about that heading into Monza. And Alexander Albon, green. I honestly wanted to give myself an A for this, but I gave myself a C because he did have negative points. He did go down in price, but not our fault. He got disqualified because the Williams factory has a slightly different measuring, or like was not calibrated correctly, and their floor was a little bit too wide. And yeah, disaster in F1 Fantasy, -15. We've talked about this in the race review, how it's way too harsh of a penalty, but there we go. So Albon gets a C because his Sunday drive was an A. Saturday was an F. So that is where I came out on my report card for the Netherlands. Let me know in the comments below what you think of that. First driver up this week, Lando Norris, 26.5 million over the last 3 races. He's scoring 33.7 points. He's worth 1.27 points per million, and he's gone up 0.4 in price. He came back with an absolute wicked race on Sunday in the Netherlands. 56 points, second highest score in F1 Fantasy this season, only trailing Verstappen in China at 58 points, which was a sprint weekend, so that makes it even more impressive. It's the highest score this weekend, or this season, over a regular Grand Prix weekend. And the 22.9 second win is the biggest gap this season, ahead of Verstappen at Bahrain, 22.5 seconds. So McLaren really laying down a marker to begin the second half of the season. The vibes are through the roof for the Papaya. Apparently enough that I felt comfortable just wearing this outfit because, yeah, Papaya are storming it up right now. We'll see what happens in Monza. Could be totally different track. Monza, Baku, and Singapore next. 3 very different tracks, very strange from like your classic F1. We've got Monza, which is just like the temple of speed. Baku is a street circuit. Singapore is almost just like a Southeast Asian Monaco at this point, although I'll need to check on what they did with the layout of the track. because last year they made a change to it. I don't know if they have kept that change for the 2024 edition. But Lando Norris, yeah, 26.5 million seems in great form right now. So I'm giving him the green flag ahead of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. If you can get there, I would make him a priority transfer. It kind of felt like, I mean, it's like Piastri had a bad race, but the gut feeling I got was like McLaren were like, okay, Oscar, you got your first win. Like we are just focusing on Lando now. And there wasn't a lot of like team radio or anything going on there. Just kind of a vibe that I got from the race overall. But let me know in the comments below, do you think McLaren should or is prioritizing Lando Norris in the second half of the season? Next up is Charles Leclerc, 23.9 million, with this glorious overall new Monza themed driver suit for this weekend. I'm definitely going to have to buy myself that hat. Not really a Ferrari fan, but that thing is beautiful. The black and the yellow looks delightful. Over the last 3 races, Charles Leclerc, 22.7 points per race, 0.97 points per million, and he's gone up 0.9. He's one of 3 drivers with at least 20 points in the last 3 races. That's Hamilton and Piastri as well. Yes, that means that Verstappen and Lando Norris have both scored under 20 points in one of the last 3 races, and his 26 points this weekend in Zandvoort was the highest score since his win in Monaco. So this is a little bit trickier than Lando because everyone in red over the weekend was like, how did we get third? What happened there? They undercut George and Oscar at the beginning of the race. It was an aggressive strategy, but it worked out, obviously. But yeah, Fred Vasseur, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, everyone was kind of like, how did this happen? We don't really know, which means that they don't have a total understanding of the car, which is not super encouraging. However, we will need to see the Friday and Saturday data, because if you have some transfers, if you've rolled 3 transfers into Monza, great job by you, first of all. And yeah, you may want to use one of those to get a Ferrari asset in. I talked about that yesterday in my early team selection video. So go check that out as well. It's only like 10 minutes long, a super short episode. You can bang that out on a coffee break or a quick drive home from work. So definitely check that out there. So as a result, because they were really good in Zandvoort, but they don't really understand the car, and we're not entirely sure what Monza is going to bring up, Charles Leclerc gets the yellow flag. Not a priority transfer, but if you have an extra one, a third one per se, and like you've got Oscar, that could be a switch that you may want to make, just depending on what happens on the Friday and Saturday data here. Next up is Kevin Magnussen. I said this in my race review. If there's an opportunity to get Kevin Magnussen in this Viking hat picture in the episode, you got to get it in here. 12.3 million. 6.7 points per race over the last 3, 0.57 points per million, and he's gone up 1.5. He's actually gone up 0.5 in 5 straight races, guys. This is insane. He is the budget building Viking. Leads the grid with 5.3 overtakes per race. He leads the grid with 2.3 possessions gained per race. So it doesn't really matter what happens on Saturday for K-Mag, because Sunday he is getting us 7.6 points per race just in overtakes and positions gained alone. Just so great job by him there. And yeah, that's enough to always get him over that 0.5 threshold that the C tier drivers need. He is getting a little close to the B tier, 2.7 away. So maybe in a few races time, we can start to think about maybe hopping off of Kevin Magnussen. The interesting thing that I did note in the race review was that Lance Stroll is now bang on at 15 million. One more bad race from the Canadian driver, and he is back down to the C tier asset, which could be a little bit of a cheat code, because some of us have this weird price point going on where I feel like we're stuck in the Williams and Sauber limbo, because we want to get to the B tier driver asset so badly. And it's just like, there's Kevin Magnussen, and then there's like 6 million or 10 million to the next driver. at this point, but maybe Lance Stroll can offer us a little bit of reprieve from that if he drops down into the C tier. So because K-Mag is just the budget building Viking, he gets the green flag, showing us some love there. Next up is Pierre Gasly, 10.1 million. Actually not doing that hot over the last 3 races, negative 2.3 points per race, negative 0.1 points per million, and he's gone up 0.2. However, he does have 2 Q3 appearances in the last 6 races, and he would average 6.2 points per race this season without DNF. So I know that's a little loosey-goosey math, but that's where we go. Oh, also more loosey-goosey math. He's actually risen 0.5 million in price in 4 of the last 5 races that he has finished. He just hasn't finished all that often, but whatever. We'll just slide right by that. Great race in Zandvoort again. He finished on the podium there in 2023, finished 9th here, matched his best result of the season in 2024 last weekend. So Alpine showing some signs coming out of the summer break, at least with Pierre Gasly. Esteban Ocon, I don't think I saw him on the broadcast once the entire weekend. I'm not sure if Alpine just paid him off and were like, every time you want to cut to Esteban Ocon, just do an interview with Jack Doohan. That's all we care about. They just gave F1 all the money, all the euros, whatever they needed, just to keep Esteban Ocon off of the screen, because I really don't remember seeing him at all. Let me know in the comments below if you remember seeing Esteban Ocon at all. I feel like I saw Jack Doohan more than any Alpine driver this past weekend. But Pierre Gasly, I'm enjoying owning him. I got off of Hulkenberg to get to Pierre Gasly on my wild card. Not sure how great I feel about that, as Haas has been more consistent over the season, but yeah, just switch it up. Pierre Gasly, a little bit of a differential, 0.5 million he rose. So that was good. So I'm giving him the green flag because he has had pretty good results at Monza before, if you remember. And yeah, that kind of went okay for Zandvoort. So maybe just following that same logic. We'll see how Alpine does this weekend on Friday. See, we'll get some data, the Temple of Speed. We'll see. It's kind of up in the air. Pierre Gasly, he is a green flag. He's a buy for me. However, if you have Hulkenberg, I don't think I would just give him a yellow flag. If you have Hulkenberg, I don't think you need to get there. But that little price point there, that 10.1, 9.9 million price bracket with Pierre Gasly and Hulkenberg, I think you want a piece of that action in F1 Fantasy, as they seem to rise quite a bit when they finish their races. Next up here is the Sauber duo. Let's just kick them out. Let's just kick Sauber out. Let's get them off the grid. 18 cars for the rest of the season. This is abysmal. It is Jover, as they would say. 7.4 million for Valtteri Bottas, 6.9 million for Zhou Guanyu. It is just diabolical. Zhou Guanyu should have lost his seat before our boy, Logan Sargeant, but that's maybe more of another podcast episode there about the financials of F1. Last 3 races, Valtteri Bottas, 1.7 points per race. Zhou Guanyu, negative 6.7 points per million. Valtteri Bottas, 0.2. Zhou Guanyu, 0.9 points per million. And then the price change, Bottas has gone down 0.3 and Zhou Guanyu has gone down 0.6. It has been awful for Kick Sauber. They were talking about this on the F1 TV broadcast last week. The only 3 teams in the last 10 seasons have failed to score a point. I believe it was Minardi, is that right? Once. And then Haas were also twice have failed to score a point. And it looks like Kick Sauber is going to join that club. So yeah, it's just not going well. There is 1 seat open at Audi next season because Nico Hulkenberg already has there. I wonder how he's feeling about that at the moment. We will see. But yeah, this is oh, it looks like I didn't update the stats there, but on the writing on the bottom there. So just ignore all that. Yeah, I was more prioritized on my getup for Logan Sargeant, I guess. But Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, they get the red flag. Sell. Whatever price Franco Colapinto comes in at, get him in. He will at least trundle around the back, hopefully not crash the car like his predecessor, Logan Sargeant, did. And yeah, you don't need to spend that extra 2.1 million to get negative points in F1 Fantasy, or 2.6 million to get negative points for Valtteri Bottas as well. I've kind of been touting Valtteri Bottas a bit, like, oh, you're doing okay. But that car is just awful. It is just sinking like a stone, very much like Haas last season in F1 fantasy. Like, it doesn't really matter where you qualify. It's just not getting the job done on Sundays. So very, very bad times for Kick Sauber. It is not going that well at all. And I would just get off them as fast as possible, because they are just costing you F1 fantasy points and budget. And at least with wherever Franco Colapinto comes in, he will cost less to do the same results as Bottas and Zhou Guanyu. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of Green Flag, Yellow Flag, Red Flag. Logan Sargeant. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And yeah, that's where we're at with Logan. So yeah, thanks for the memories, Logan Sargeant. It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. Once again, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Rate the podcast 5 stars wherever you're listening or watching. I will be back tomorrow with the big race preview and the final team selection. No live stream this week. I am going to Berlin for Labor Day. I probably will not be wearing this getup, but you never know. We'll see what happens. But once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.